Why, fire service, fire from us, I'll be a phone. And there's some cranny. Why, and I found a passage. Oh, bloody why? Be good. Go.
Hi guys, my name is SK and today I am here at Ghana National Fire Service head office in Accra, and today I'm about to speak with the head divisional officer grade 2 Desmond Ackah, and at the head office of Ghana, at the head of public relations Ghana National Fire Service. There are a lot of rumors, especially we the citizens, how we understand the fire service work, how we think the fire service have to operate, how we also thought sometimes they say there is fire outbreak. Instead of us to call fire service, when the fire service come, they say people will be saying when the fire service came, they say they don't have water in their car and a whole lot of things. So today, for us to get deeper understanding and education on that, I'm here at the office. So guys, in case you are new here and today is your first time watching this, you can do me a favor by subscribing to the channel. After subscribing, turn on the post notification bell to all so that you don't miss important video like this. And when it comes to earth equipment machine, Sega One Company Limited, it says, come on, if you need excavator, bulldozer, grader, work on your land, you can call Sega One Company Limited on 0243-5544-77, 0243-5544-77. Sega One Company Limited, working with confidence. Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
By God's grace, we are soldiering on.
Okay. How does it feel to be fire service officer?
Well, so it's great to be a firefighter.
Okay.
We are lifesavers, and aside Jesus Christ, we are the saviors of lives and that of property, as far as our role is concerned. So our motto has always been service with compassion.
Okay.
So we have a bigger heart, a compassionate heart that is always ready to help people who are in distress.
Okay.
So we are not like any other ordinary person or people around. We are a special breed of people who are always poised to save every savable life and to protect people's property. So it's a great feeling to be a firefighter.
Okay.
But it is not too motivating to be a firefighter in this part of our world, especially in Ghana, where people don't understand what you do, and therefore there are a lot of misconceptions around our operations, which probably I believe that this engagement will help us to address some of them. But notwithstanding the challenges, what we call operational challenges or occupational hazards, we are poised to contribute our quota to the development of this country.
Okay, thank you. I mean, when it comes to Ghana, especially we the citizens, we complain. They will say there is a fire outbreak. They call fire service. It took them an hour, 2 hours before the fire service, they will come. And sometimes when they come, you keep on hearing, so they don't have water and all that. Today, as I'm here and you are here, when it comes to fire outbreak, what are the most, the things that causes fire outbreak in our country and other regions?
All right, so there are a lot of factors that lead to the fires that we record, but I would say that most of the fires that we record, whether in our markets, in the natural environment, bushfires, or our homes, or even offices, they are mostly caused by our own actions and inactions. So humanly induced causative factors constitute over 95%.
Okay.
Yes, so there are just a few ones that occur as a result of probably accident, but most of the fires are caused by our own actions and inaction. So in delving into the specifics, whether we live in our homes or we get to our offices or workplaces or even the market, we tend to put a lot of pressure on electricity.
Okay.
So once there's pressure on electricity, sometimes we are forced not to be too cautious. So we tend not to even put our electrical appliances off. And then some of them too, they are not supposed to be used for prolonged hours. So once we forget to switch them off after use, they overwork for a long period, they overheat, and then they create the fires.
Okay.
Sometimes too, you would also realize that for a particular socket or electric circuit, you will find out that there are so many loads, that is the items that are drawing power from that source. There are too many, and they are drawing much current, which constitute what we call overloading. And once there is overloading, there will be excessive heat production, and therefore the fires would occur. As human beings, we always kind of find food to eat, and most of the food that we eat, they are cooked. So in the process of cooking them, when we tend to be careless, when we tend to be doing other things which would sway our focus, then it means that the food may overcook, and then it will probably lead to some of these fires. There was this fire that we attended, I think last year or so, around Achimota Abofu. And we understand after the investigation, the lady left her soup on her gas stove Sunday morning. I mean, she was in a hurry. I don't know whether she was a chorister or something. And she left that soup on fire. And then finished bathing, dressed and left for church. And it took over 4 hours for the fire to start. And when the fire started, all the containers and the structures within that enclave, we lost about 10 in a chain or in a row. 10 containers and their contents, they got destroyed by the fire. So unattended cooking. Sometimes we may be cooking, we may be bathing or bathing our kids, we may be making phone calls, watching TV, doing some other activities that tend to distract us. So once we are distracted and we lose focus, then the fires would come. Sometimes you go to people's kitchen, they have gas cylinders and stoves and all that. You would realize that they are faulty, they are leaking gas, but they wouldn't send it to the technician for it to be fixed. But they will ignore, put heavy stones on the regulators and all that. By the end of the day, you are not stopping the gas leakage. And this leaked gas will get into contact with ignition source and create the fire. And because we cook with some of these gas cylinders and stoves, we tend not to take good care of them. And once you mishandle them, they also lead to some of these fires. And then sometimes we go in for these inferior or substandard electrical appliances. Once they are inferior or substandard, it means that at a point in time, they will not be efficient. So as they work, they produce excessive energy, or they consume a lot of energy. And therefore, when you tend to forget them, then they will create the fire situations for us. And we sometimes, depend on where we live. In Ghana, mosquitoes are a challenge, So sometimes we may go for mosquito coils, but how we use them, these naked fire materials. How we use them is very critical.
And candles.
Yes, mosquito coils, lighters, candles. We place them closer to things that can start or burn. And once we do that, they burn. I remember I investigated a fire in 2015 at Offenso in the Ashanti region. When we went there, there was this lady who had given birth to a child. The child was less than a year, and she left her for an errand. So it was in the evening. Then she lit a candle on top of the bed. So as the child was sleeping, probably she was just moving, and then the thing fell on the mattress, and then it caught fire. So by the time she came back from her errand, I mean, the entire single room, self-contained, was gutted, and the child was burnt to ashes. That was a very sad one. So it is not proper that when you want to use those items, you place them closer to combustible materials or anything that can burn. So we need to be cautious in the use of such materials. And then also we tend to burn refuse. Sometimes we make rubbish or waste in our homes and offices. Instead of us to dispose them off properly or calling these waste managers to come and take them for proper disposal, we tend to burn them within our backyard and closer to or within our office space or residential properties. And they tend to create unnecessary bushfires for us. So this time round, aside the natural vegetation burning due to bad weather, the harmattan and all that, we are creating more bushfires within our communities where we reside. You know, there may be some fallow lands here and there, and people tend to burn their refuse, toilet papers or whatever, and they leave those fires to burn. And then once it starts, it creates other fires as well. And then also, people tend to store flammable materials in their homes, in their storage rooms. And these materials, because they are flammable, when you don't handle them properly, when you don't store them where there is enough ventilation, and sometimes when you don't cover them well, they may vaporize. The vapors will leak out, and when it gets access to any heat source, it will create a fire condition. So the list is endless, but the number one cause of fire in this country is the misuse of electricity and electrical appliances. That is number one. Then we have unattended cooking. Then poor handling of what? Gas cylinders and stoves. Then we have misuse of naked light materials like matches, candles, mosquito coils, placing lighters improperly for our children to have access to play with them and all that, to create the fire situation. And so other times too, I think this is on a small scale. Others in trying to settle in some scores, probably between, maybe it's a family feud or probably there is some kind of conflict. They deliberately set some of the fires to settle whatever scores that they are trying to resolve. So there are deliberate acts as well. And then we have some.
We have sometimes the filling stations, especially the gas filling stations. You hear the place, the gas filling station has been exposed and all that. What causes that one also? Is it the same naked fire, or they have something happen before you get that one also?
Okay, so you know these liquid fuels, they have low flash points. That is, they are highly flammable. So if you get to a filling station and you have, let's say LPG, or you have petrol, or you have diesel or kerosene, these are highly flammable substances. That is why the protocol there is that when you get there, you off your ignition. But you would find drivers driving in, not turning off their ignition. They may have faults with their exhaust system.
Okay.
Maybe there may be a fault with their catalytic converter not working properly. So you still see naked fire coming out from their exhaust. So this kind of heat is potent enough to come into contact with the leaked fuel vapors.
Okay.
Because they are flammable vapors, it is not the liquid that burns, it is the vapors that these fuels produce that when it gets into contact with any heat source would get ignited.
Okay.
Sometimes we will get there, we make phone calls. Mobile phones, the way it functions is that it produces magnetism and electric forces known as electromagnetic energy.
Okay.
And these energies produce radiation, heat. And so when they get into contact with these vaporized substances, then there is a fire creation there.
Okay.
So that is how come when you get to a filling station, there are protocols like do not make phone calls, do not put on your ignition, you must switch it off. It is not at the filling station that you have to go and be opening your bonnet to be checking your, how do you call it, your engine as to whether there is a problem or whatever.
But it seems those at the filling station attendants also need to educate.
Yes, so we train them.
Okay.
Every year we train them. And that's when people leave and new ones are employed. You know, that sector is, the attrition rate is very high. So every now and then we make sure that those who have not acquired any basic training in fire safety are given.
Okay.
So all these trainings are, or the education is given to such people to avert. That is how come these days you don't hear of explosions at the filling stations and all that. It's because of what we have been doing. The gas stations, the fuel service stations, we have always been up and doing there.
So what is the biggest mistake that people do when there is fire outbreak? Sometimes, whether in our various homes or workplace, when there's fire outbreak, you see people, come with water. Sometimes you hear they say mix omo with water, mix sand with water, when get a dry material or something to quench the fire. Is it advisable? Those things, are they mistakes that they are doing?
Well, so what people normally do is that once there is fire, they panic. They panic, and it is not advisable to panic in such situation. You must remain calm so that you can think and bring out solutions to deal with the situation. 2, they delay.
Okay.
Once you panic, your sense of judgment is affected, and therefore you will not be in the right frame of mind to even alert people that fire has occurred.
Okay.
So that whoever has to call the fire service would have to do that within that period. So they panic, they tend to delay calling us for help. Most often too, people would try to play with our emergency lines. Prank us.
Really?
Yes, prank us. And then they will wait for a longer period of time for the fire to get, if it is a fire situation, for the fire to get out of hand. And once fire gets out of hand, it's very difficult to contain.
Okay.
And therefore, in fighting the fire at that stage with all manner of extinguishing medium is difficult unless we come in to be able to deal with the fire. Then another dangerous thing that they do is that they tend to throw water on an energized electrical equipment which is on fire. Dangerous. You as a human being, you are a good conductor because you have blood. The blood too is full of water flowing through you. You understand? And water too is a good conductor of electricity. So once you throw water on the energized equipment which is on fire, there is going to be a potential electrocution. So if you are not fortunate, you will be electrocuted and you may die. So that is one dangerous thing that they also do. Sometimes, instead of them to call quickly for help, they gather around the fire to see what is going on. And what these days they do is that taking videos, reporting live, and making all manner of unprofessional comments. That does not help anybody. Sometimes, instead of you to call the emergency respondent like the Ghana National Fire Service to be there on time, then they'll be making live videos, delaying response. And one thing that pains us is that when they have delayed in calling and we have come, they tell us that we have come late, as if we are magicians to know that there was this fire that we should have come. Currently, we don't have any technology that makes us see everywhere within this country that there's a fire outbreak or there's an accident that we have to respond. So calling us and alerting us of an emergency is very important. So one, the delays must stop, and then also the prank calls too must stop. So they must have a calm mind, raise the needed alarm, so that people will become aware that there is fire in this building, so that they can move out to safety. And then sometimes too, some of the biggest mistake is that when they have gotten out of the fire, they remember that, oh, my money is there, yay, my certificate, yay, my jewelry, let me go and pick it. If you are not fortunate, if the fire has grown, if the fire has produced a lot of smoke, it will affect you. You may be affected and faint, and then the fire will come and burn you. So we don't advise that once you are out of a fire situation,
You don't have to go in again.
no, if there is an electrical fire, you don't pour water on it.
Okay.
What you can do is to go to the main source, maybe the main switch or the socket where the energized equipment is plugged in, to put it off.
Okay. But somebody will say that, let me hold the cable rather. Let's say I plug an extension board and there is a fire. Somebody will say, let me take the cable, or I'll pull the cable for the plug to, move out of the socket.
But
advice.
No, it's not safe.
Okay.
In trying to work out on a fire situation, you need to be safe. You need to do a very smart risk assessment.
Okay.
Because why not go to the socket and put off the switch, or go to the main switch that supplies electricity to the entire facility and put it off?
Okay.
And therefore, we don't advise that people should also rush to the scene to catch a glimpse of what is happening. The best thing you could do is to call us, because once you rush there, because you are not trained, you don't have the technical know-how to save the situation.
Okay.
So once you come to the scene where emergency responders are working, you tend to obstruct them, giving them instructions. Sometimes they even come and take the hose from you by force. Last year, around September thereabout, we went to a fire at Nima in Accra here. Then when we went, it was a structure which was on fire. And upon the assessment they did, they realized that some wires or cables were exposed. And therefore, we had called on ECG to isolate power from that area so that we could fight the fire. The irate youth pounced on them whilst they were waiting for ECG, accusing them that they were wasting time. And therefore, they are not ready to ensure that the building goes down.
Okay.
So they forcefully took the charge hose and then opened the water. As soon as they opened the water, they were electrocuted, including our branchman. So fortunately for us, we had to rush our branchman to the police hospital, where he survived. The other two gentlemen who forcefully took the branch from him died instantly, and they had to go and bury them. So that is the unfortunate thing. So
the reason why sometimes when firefighters got to the scene where there is fire outbreak, they wait for some time before they start,
So the protocol is that the standard operating procedure when we get to the fire scene is that we don't know what is on fire or what is burning.
Okay.
You just call us that, oh, there's fire at Kokomemle, maybe so and so bank. You didn't tell us that your air conditioner started the fire.
Okay.
And therefore maybe you have 10 gas cylinders there. You just told us that your facility is on fire. Therefore we should come in to help. So when we come, we do a quick risk assessment.
Okay.
We check the hazards. We know the risk levels, so that it helps us to be able to come up with the best strategy or tactics to deal with the situation. We have to know how many people are trapped in there, so that if it is possible to save them, we can rescue them.
Okay.
So upon doing this, once we get to know that there are energized equipment, there are live cables that are falling or that are in situations that will make us effective in dealing with the situation or affect us in that operation, we would have to call on ECG to isolate power. And it takes some time. Sometimes it can take closer to maybe 10, 20 or 30 minutes.
Whilst the fire...
Yes. So what we do is that in order to curtail rapid spread of fire, we do intermittent releasing of our water.
Okay.
We open and close so that there wouldn't be continuous stream of water flowing to warrant electrocution.
Okay.
But that is not even safe. We risk and do that whilst we wait. But there are other times too that we can't do that.
Okay.
We simply have to wait for power to be isolated. One other dangerous thing too is that because we are a people who normally engage in illegal wiring connection, ECG may decide to isolate power within the area.
Yeah.
But because people are tapping power or electricity from different sources, a portion of the building's power will be off. But because of the illegal connection, you will still have current flowing through. So if you are not careful, you could be electrocuted. So we need to be sure that the power has been totally or fully been isolated, so that we can go on with effective firefighting to deal with the situation.
Okay.
So that is where people see us, and then they tend to accuse us that we are wasting time. Please, we are professionals. We have been trained. We don't need your help at the fire situation. When you come and we are telling you that this is the situation at hand, relax. We will deal with the situation. Just relax and help us work out whatever we need to do to be able to salvage the situation.
Wow. Let me ask, the water that is used to quench the fire, is it the normal water? The firefighters have special water that they use to quench fires, and why is it that we don't have ECG working within the Ghana National Fire Service, so that in case of something like that, they will, because they are in the team, they will help the over there to disconnect whatever they have to disconnect for the fire service to also do their work?
So we don't use any special water.
Okay.
It is the same water that gets to our homes.
Oh, okay.
That flows through our taps. It's what we also use in fighting fire.
It's not special, it's not different.
No, but what we do is that if the fire involves class B fuels, like diesel, petrol, kerosene, those liquid fuels, we mix chemical foam compound with our water, so that we can get bubbles to deal with the fire. Because of the nature of such fires, it is the vapor that we have to come into contact with the ignition source or the heat to create the fire situation. And therefore, we need to be able to generate enough foam to deploy on the class B fire or the liquid fuel that is on fire, so that it cannot generate much vapors or gases to help the fire to continue. So that is the only time that we mix our water with a chemical.
Okay. So you mix it over there, or you mix everything?
Depending on the fire tender or the fire engine that is being used. There are fire engines that has how do you call it? Engines that have this compound chambers, or the foam compound chamber. So automatically they are designed in such a way that water will flow through that chamber, the mixture will go on, and then the bubbles are released, and then they come out of. There are others too that they don't have that kind of accessories, so we need to mix the foam and the water outside the tender. So we have connectors that we do connect, and then we generate the foam to fight such fires. So on the account of ECG not being part of us, you know, we are key stakeholders. Ghana Fire Service, ECG, and then Ghana Water, because we rely on the output of Ghana Water, which is the water. So Ghana Water produces the water. They build or construct or install the fire hydrants. And then they pump the water through the hydrants for our usage. So what we do is that we go for inspection with them, and some probably the assemblies, because these hydrants are built in our communities. So once we detect any faults within the hydrants, we report for Ghana Water to maintain it or to build new ones for us. That is how come that anybody who pays for their services, there is a charge that they charge for firefighting purposes. Because if there is fire, when we come, we will not charge you. We are using the water that we have all been paying for to come and fight your fire. So sometimes too, when we come and we run out of water, and you have water in your home, maybe you have a swimming pool, all we need to do is to make use of that water. And then when we finish, we look at how we can get the water for you. So if it is in your storage tank, poly tank, or whatever, if it is in your pool, we have every right to have access. So there was this video that we ran out of water, and we were getting water from a poly tank from a neighbor, and people were videoing and insulting us that we came without water. We are now relying on the water from somebody's poly tank. Please, because the person didn't understand the work. Anytime we get to a place and we are dealing with a fire situation and we run out of water, any water that we can chance on, the law mandates that we can make use of it, and afterwards we find ways to replace the water.
So over there, how true is it? Because people say that sometimes the fire service or the firefighters will drive all the way from their station. When they come to where the fire is burning, then they will say that they don't have water in their tank. How true is that?
Well, let me also ask you, this morning as you were coming to interview me, when you were coming, you had in mind that you were coming to interview me, and therefore you prepared. You got your questionnaires, your line of questions down. You brought in your cameras, your microphones, your tripod stand, and everything, just to make sure that the interview is done. So the same way, when we have to also respond to a fire situation, we go there prepared. So our main weapon is water. So if you look at our fire engines or appliances, there is a chamber that carries water. So when we get there, depending on the size of the fire and how the fire is spreading, we are able to, by means of pressure, use the highest form of pressure to get the water out, so that the fire spread will be cut short or will be checked. So in doing that, depending on the size of the tank, and if we are to give the maximum pressure, it will take less time for the water to get finished. Because no fire tender can carry the whole world's water to a fire scene. That is why the hydrants must be put or built in our communities. Every 100 meters we should have hydrants. And we should not just have the hydrants sitting down. They should flow with water at desired pressure, such that when we get there, we can tap water from the hydrant for effective firefighting. Firefighting requires we get continuous supply of water until the fire is completely dealt with. So if we don't get continuous supply of water, it means that we will not be able to deal with the fire, and there will be reignition. The fire will behave as if it is going off. Within a short time, then it comes up again. Then it begins to destroy properties than even before. So we need a lot of water to be able to fight every fire. So as a service, we respond to every emergency with water. Every fire tender has its own water carrying capacity. There are tenders that have bigger water carrying capacity. Some carry up to 3,000 gallons. Others carry up to about 500 gallons. Others also have in between the 500 and the 3,000. So if the 3,000 gallon fire tender would take, let's say, about 20 minutes to get it water exhausted, the 500 gallon water capacity tender will use about 5 minutes to get it water exhausted. So it is not true that tenders move from the fire station to emergency scenes without water. Just that every fire engine has its own carrying water capacity. And even before the fire, we make sure that after every fire situation, we refill our tenders before we get to the station. Because if you don't do that, they can call you for another fire. So right after every fire, we fill the tender before we come to the station. And then the standard operating procedure is that if I have come to duty and I'm closing, I'm going home, and you are coming to take over from me, it is within your right to check the fire engine to make sure that there is water, there are equipment, there is everything that is needed for you to be able to attend the next fire emergency call. So if you check and the water level is below what is required, it is within your right not to take over. Do you understand? Yes. Until I go and top it up and ensure that the water level is up to the standard level. So those checks are done, and no one dares to move the fire engine to a fire scene without water. So it has never happened, it can never happen, and it will never happen per our standard operating procedure.
So where do people get those?
Yes, so it's because in those days, when these misconceptions started flying about, we failed as a service to deal with it head on. You know, fire service was born or established in 1963. And at that time, the population of this country had not grown up to this level. And therefore, the fire trucks that we had as at the time, the water capacity was very low, because fires were not even happening as we are seeing now. And therefore, within the shortest time, when they attend these fires, their water ran out. And then they started accusing them that they came without water, they came to observe the fire, to go and get water, and all manner of accusation. But I don't think the service as at that time defended or explained things to the public such that they could easily understand. And those lies continued till this time. So when you know that from simple or basic psychology, any untruth that is forcibly entrusted or highlighted or given prominence over a long period of time becomes or assumes the normal thing, or it becomes like the normal truth, or it becomes acceptable as the truth. But that is not the case. So when those misconceptions started flying about, I think we failed as a service to deal with it head on. And that is how come it has entered into the public for generations. Even if you enter into people's homes and you ask a 5-year-old that, oh, is it true that fire service attend to fires without? They say yes. Because the grandparent told the parent, and the parents have also passed it on to their kids, and it has become a generation up to about the 4th generation. So to be able to deal with it, that is how come in recent times we have also forcibly been championing the fact that it can never happen per our SOPs and all that. Even damaged appliances, faulty ones, even out of commission ones, those that we are no longer in use, or we are no longer using them, we put water in them. Do you know why? Because we live in this part of our country where there could be drought, there could be water shortage, and therefore those are our safe havens. They are our last resort. That when it becomes so difficult for us to get water for firefighting, we could come and draw water from there to go and fight fires that we do not or we did not set. Just to be able to protect people's property and even save lives where it matters most. So it is never true, and it cannot be true.
So those that are watching this particular video, anybody that tells you that, hey, when fire service, they will drive all the way from their station, they will come without water, it's never true. I was watching one video whereby I think the living guy was passing by and the fire truck was there, and he was like, there's no water, there's no water. And they arrest the guy and they open when the water was flowing out of him, and the way the guy was beaten. So I think this education will also help those that are, they put those narrative into their head that, hey, fire service, when they drive from their station to where the fire is, they don't have water. Let me ask this question before we move on. Sometimes we see people properties got burned down, destroyed. Who are the people to help them? Let's say I have a shop or a business and my business got burnt and fire service came to fight, and now I lost everything. Is the government going to help me with amount of money to restart my business? How does it work?
All right, so before you put up any venture like that, you will need to be able to get it registered. You need to go through the processes to make sure that it is recognized or registered, so to speak. And then also, because there are risks, including fire risks, it will only be appropriate that you get some insurance for the content and even for the structure itself. So depending on the kind of insurance that you go in for and against whichever risks, if it is fire, then you would have to pay a certain premium. And so once that property or facility is gutted, and we come in to deal with the situation, we would help you. If it is insured, we will help you with a report as to how the fire started and the cause of it and how to prevent it. So that if it is insured, you could use the report to make claims from your insurers. You get me? Yes. Now, the only thing the government can do for you is to probably get you some relief items just for you to be able to cope for the meantime. So if you don't have any insurance, then it means that it's going to be very difficult for you to bounce back, because the insurance will give you the cushion to at least give you some money that will help you to start all over again. But there are no provisions now, unless the government decides that you've lost everything, so let me help you. Then NADMO will organize some materials and maybe the assembly, depending on the situation. They will organize some money for you. But I'm not sure that money will be able to bring your business back to life.
Okay.
But if you had done some form of insurance, at least you could come back to business.
Okay. So my next question is what are some of the education that firefighters need to give our schools and those that are the marketplaces when we first see this fire outbreak wherever they are? What are the first things they have to do?
Right. So it is important that once you see fire, you would raise the alarm. You have to alert us so that we can come in as quickly as possible. But you need to be able to stay calm.
Okay.
You need to be able to be focused. Once you stay calm, you raise the needed alarm.
Okay.
You need to be able to alert. So if the facility has installed alarm system, you have to activate it.
Okay.
So that the sounder would sound the needed alarm, so that wherever you are within the facility, you will hear and then begin to move to the nearest exit, so that at least you can save your life.
Okay.
Then the next thing that you have to do is to call on the Ghana National Fire Service via our emergency line, which is the 112, or any of our hotlines. Every station has its unique hotline. It is important that where you live, you visit the nearest fire station, get their direct number.
Okay.
So that when you call the 112, that is normally directed to our centralized control places, like National Headquarters, Ashanti Command, or Northern Command, depending on your location.
Okay.
You need to be able to know the direct number of the stations where you live, so that you can call them to minimize the response time. And then once you raise the alarm, you can also help the vulnerable. You know, if there are kids if it's a school, definitely there are school kids, pupils. So if the teachers are there, they should ensure that every child evacuates.
Okay.
Probably if they have the crèche, those little ones, they must be evacuated first. If they have if it is, let's say, a caregiving facility, they have old people, maybe they have sick people there, they need to be able to evacuate them. People who are disabled, maybe they can't walk, or they have issues with their eye, their ears, they must be assisted to also evacuate to safety. And aside that, everyone must also evacuate. So if, let's say, you live on the 20th floor, and fire has gathered there, you have up to 3 minutes. As the person who lives on the ground floor of that 20th floor, all of you,
20 minutes.
3 minutes,
3 minutes
to evacuate from that facility. It is assumed that per scientific calculation, it is assumed that when a fire starts within the facility, after 3 minutes, it generates enough smoke that can kill.
Okay.
So if you delay in evacuating, it means that the likelihood that you may be affected by the smoke, you may inhale smoke, and then suffer asphyxia, you may faint, and the fire will come and burn you later, is high.
Okay.
That is how come that when you escape from a building, we don't advise that you go inside again, because probably after which we would have, maybe after you had escaped, it would have gone past the 3 minutes, and whereby smoke levels have gone up.
Okay.
And you could suffer from the smoke effect. And then also, once you have raised the alarm, you have assisted the vulnerables, pregnant women, the aged, the sick, the disabled, and children, and anybody who needs help out, and everyone has escaped through the escape route to the final place of safety.
Okay.
If the fire is still manageable, that is, it has not grown big, whilst escaping, this one there, it is not by force. But if you are able to do it, it helps.
Okay.
Whilst coming out, if there are open windows, we advise that you get them closed. If there are electrical appliances which are on and you can put them off, we advise that you put the ACs, the television sets, the water dispensers, and what have you, if you can put them off.
Okay.
Then the last thing is that close doors behind you. What we are trying to do by closing the windows and the doors is that we want you to limit the amount of oxygen that will go to where the fire is, so that after some time, when the oxygen within where the fire has started is consumed, the fire will die out naturally.
Okay.
Because there are 3 elements that come together to create fire: heat, oxygen, and fuel. Once you are able to deal with one, the fire will stop by itself. So if the fire is still manageable and you whilst getting out, and if you can put out energized electrical equipment, you need to be able to switch them off. If windows are open, just shut them or close them to limit the amount of oxygen or air getting in. If the doors too are open wide, just close them to limit the amount of oxygen getting in, so that the fire will not spread quickly, so that the fire could be dealt with. So in that state, there are stages of fire development. Once the fire starts, it's at its initial stage. The fire is still small and it has not gone up or gotten out of hand. And therefore, you can manage the fire with potable fire extinguishers. So if you have the extinguishers at your disposal and you have been trained and you know how to use it, just move ahead, use the necessary protocol, that is knowing pass, PASS. You pull the safety pin, you aim the nozzle at the seat or where the fire is actually coming from, then you squeeze the operating lever, then you sweep side by side. While doing that, you make sure that there is an open exit behind you. Even rat when he makes it whole, he leaves an emergency exit. So if you have been trained and you have the courage to do it, just use the available potable fire extinguisher and deal with the fire. While somebody has called us a long time. So if you are in a working environment, you make sure that you use the nearest exit and then you escape within 3 minutes. Get to the assembly point. Depending on how the facility is, there are different assembly points. Get to the nearest assembly point. Then whoever is in charge will have to do a head count so that we can account for everybody who reported for duty that particular time. So that if somebody is still trapped in there, as soon as the firefighters come, you can give that information quickly. If it is possible for that person to be rescued, then quickly they move in to rescue the person. Please, when you are out of the building and you remember that you didn't take your phone, lalai, don't go back, because I've told you, you need to escape within 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, smoke levels are rising. And assuming that probably you were asleep, this one in your home, and then the fire woke you up. Probably the fire has been burning for maybe the past 5 minutes or so. And then you woke up all of a sudden. There is smoke all over your room. The best thing to do is that if there are any electrical components that are on, you can put it off.
Okay.
Then you go down, crawl. You crawl on the floor. Scientific research has shown that smoke at the initial stages will rise. After some time, they become heavier and then they fall. So even in your room, before smoke will fall, they will fall up to about a certain level. They cannot fall up to the ground level.
Okay.
So when you go down on your elbows and you want to crawl, within that space there is still some breathable air or fresh air that you can breathe. So you crawl, you have access to oxygen. Then once you get to your door, feel it with the back of your palm. Feel the door with the back of your palm, so that if it is not hot, you can open it and escape. If it is hot, then it means that there's fire behind the door.
Okay.
So you use the next available exit.
Okay.
So to every room, the best thing is that you should have 2 exits.
Okay.
Such that if one is blocked, you can use the other. So don't think that because of thieves, you go and block the other exit so that they will not have any opportunity to come and steal your things. But know that fire is more dangerous than any thief. One thing that we have not learned is that no thief can go to Makola Market, Sunday Market, Kumasi Kejetia, or whichever facility to go and carry the whole market to his house.
Sure.
But when fire comes, within 10-20 minutes, it can take your life, destroy all your properties. So we need to be able to be fire safety conscious, put in place the basic safety measures. Because the issue is that I hate it when people always want to put the blame on fire service. God has been good to you. You want to build. You have the money to build the whole house, 3 bedrooms. Fantastic, nice. But you don't, excuse my language, you don't have the sense to protect that property. You have not bought smoke alarms. You have not bought fire extinguishers. Smoke alarm will wake you up even when the fire starts in the middle of the night and you are fast asleep. You have not secured your bedrooms, your living area, your kitchen with these alarms, your corridors with these alarms. You've not bought fire extinguishers. That when there is fire, you can use it to extinguish the fire within some few seconds. And you sit down, you become careless. You don't buy quality cables for your electrical installation. You are so careless and you use naked lights anyhow and you set your house on fire. You care not to even know the emergency number of fire service, and your house is on fire, and you want to turn your negligence, your refusal to be responsible on fire service, that you called and it took us forever to come. You now, you don't know our emergency number. You now, you didn't take care to protect your property. No smoke alarm. But you knew that there were thieves. You spent huge sums of money to buy metals to protect yourself within these metals. That one day you got the sense to do that too. But you never had the chance to protect your house against fire. And at the end of the day, if everything is raised down by fire service, you didn't come with water. You didn't come early. But you have forgotten that you were not responsible. So we are not going to allow people to be accusing us left, right, center. So people must be fire safety compliant. They must be responsible for their own safety and ensure that they put in place the basic fire safety protection.
That means every house needs a fire extinguisher.
That is per law.
Wow.
Every home, every house, every facility needs a fire certificate. And by that, you are mandated by law to install smoke alarms and fire extinguishers. You are mandated by law to get trained on the use of these life-saving devices.
Okay. Wow. Before I get to my last question, now the National Fire Service, what are some of the challenges that they face when it comes to the government or the equipment you use? Because sometimes we hear and we see when it comes to our firefighters, we ourselves see some of the challenges that the firefighters face. What is the government also doing new to help the firefighters to get all the necessary equipment that they need to fight?
Okay, so as a government institution, we are faced with a lot of challenges.
Okay.
But most of our challenges are solvable.
Okay.
They are addressable. We can provide solutions to them as a nation. So, for instance, we always have to grapple with traffic, congestion within our market, traffic on our roads, especially within the cities, where we have to respond to fire situation. And then we face a lot of obstruction in delivering our mandate. Sometimes if there is structural collapse, if there is fire, you find a lot of people gathered there, filming, telling us what to do, giving instructions here and there, even trying to rescue affected people without being in the necessary or required accoutrement or protection. And that amounts to obstruction. You get it? Now, there are also poor address system that sometimes when people call, they are not able to give us the precise address or location of the incident, and it contributes to delays in our response.
Okay.
They call you, they tell you, oh, there's this rice seller at this junction when you get there. So that day, if we get there and then the rice seller didn't come, it means that you have given us a wrong apple. Then, because a lot of people do not understand what we do, despite the education that we have always been churning out, they vandalize our trucks, they beat our people, to the extent that they cause severe injuries to our firefighters. They are saviors. They are saviors who have put their lives on the line to save them. They come to their aid and they beat them, which is very unlawful. Very, very, very unlawful. It is illegal against the laws of this country to assault a firefighter. And therefore, we are going to take people who do that on, just as we have been doing in times past. So these are some of the major challenges that we face. Prank calls.
On the fire service.
Hoax, emergency calls. I am telling you. You know, we have a fire television. Yes, the service has a television that we churn out a lot of educational content. We have put a certain number there for people with adverts to call us so that they can place the adverts on our television.
Okay.
People abuse that line and call that number irresponsibly and at odd hours just to prank us. So this is just a number. What about the emergency number? Every second you get somebody pranking us. Just the first quarter, prank calls reduce from, let me give you the specific figures so that you understand what I am talking about. Prank calls reduce just the first 3 months. I am giving you the comparative statistics just between 2025 and 2026. So in 2025, the first quarter recorded prank calls alone 132,770 prank calls.
Wow.
Within 3 months of 2025. And because of the consistent education that we've been doing on the dangers in pranking the National Fire Service, it reduced in the first 3 months of this year to 109,179. So from 132,000, it dropped to 109,000, over 109,000. That we were able to record a reduction of a little over 23,000, representing about 17.8%. So that is also one of our biggest challenge. One of our biggest challenge as far as our operations are concerned. And therefore, as a government institution, we can't say that we have it all. We also have issues with bad road networks. We have had instances where our fire engines have gotten stuck in mud and in some dangerous road situations. So ordinarily, if it should take us, let's say, 5 minutes to get to a fire scene or an accident scene, because the road is bad, sometimes it takes us more than 10 minutes to get to the place. So as a government institution, we can't say we have it all, even though government continues to provide us with what we need. But as Oliver Twist, we would always ask for more. So whilst we wait on government to retool us with all the equipment and the the tools that we need, we ask corporate Ghana, individuals, institutions, what they can also do to help us. If you look at our mandate, which largely hinges on creating awareness and sensitization and letting people know their individual responsibility towards fire prevention, we need a lot more utility vehicles.
Okay.
That would serve as engines to allow us to go out there, engage the people, educate them, sensitize them, create a needed awareness so that people will come to terms of what they need to do, what they need not to do, and be responsible for their safety. So any institution out there, who is willing and must be willing, corporate Ghana should come to our aid. If you can buy us pickups, let's say 100, let's say 200, it will go a long way to help us to go to wherever we have to go to conduct education. Let me paint this picture to you.
Okay.
We need to educate Ghanaians,
Sure.
but there are logistic and resource constraints. If we don't have the means, if we don't have the means to go to the communities, how do we then go and then educate Ghanaians? So we need the motorbikes. We need the utility vehicles mounted with PA systems, so that when we get to the community, we can mount the PA system, speak so that it will go far for people to hear what they need to hear, so that they can put in place the needed safety measures to prevent fires. So let us not just think that fire prevention is just the sole responsibility of Ghana National Fire Service. We need help. We need serious help in terms of logistics and resources. And what for now we need from corporate Ghana and the good people is what? The utility vehicles. If we can get about 100, 200, I believe that all the districts, all the stations that do not have them to embark on effective and intensified public safety awareness campaigns could be on their feet and could be doing Ghanaians a lot more good than what we are seeing now.
Thank you. Before we bring everything to an end, what are some of the biggest challenge in the work that you might say that, hey, since I've joined fire service, this is my biggest challenge that you advise those that are the younger ones who are also willing to join?
Well, so first of all, you need to have passion.
Okay.
For this job, because this job comes with its own hazards. You hardly have time for yourself.
Wow.
You are always stressed. We work 24/7. Emergencies do not give hints. They just happen.
Okay.
So every now and then, something is happening. And as a public relations officer, you need to be abreast with everything that is happening, so that when you are called upon, you will know exactly what to say.
Okay.
So it is demanding, and it requires that you always educate yourself. You always know the trends. You always get to know what is creating the fires, what is letting certain incidents, what is driving certain trends within our workspace,
okay,
so that you can offer contemporary and pragmatic safety education just to be able to help prevent some of these preventable issues.
Okay.
And I would also say that it is very difficult being a public relations officer in a public institutions like the Ghana National Fire Service, because you have three key stakeholders that you are dealing with. You are dealing with your management. You are dealing with government officials, politicians, and you're also dealing with the rank and file, internal fire service stakeholders, the personnel. So when you are communicating out there, these three are in your mind. What am I saying so that I will not offend government officials? The communication that I'm putting out so that I will not offend management, and I also not offend the rank and file so that I will not dampen their morale. So at any point in time, your mind is working. And if you don't have the shocks to be able to deal with this, then it means that you can't work here. So it is very challenging. I would encourage young, enthusiasts, passionate Ghanaians out there who wants to take up professions like this, that first of all, they need to build the capacity, educate themselves, acquire skills and knowledge to be able to be effective on this role. And once they have all this, they should be good to go.
My final question: when it comes to Ghana National Fire Service, is it only for quenching fire? Because sometimes we see in a case where if there is a flood, the Ghana National Fire Service go there to rescue the people. Is it also part of the Ghana National Fire Service? Is it part of their work, or their job is to, be the firefighters only?
All right, so we do a number of things per the act that established us in 1963 and then re-established us in 1997. That is Act 537 of 1997. So basically our objective is to prevent and manage undesired fires. That is our key objective. And to be able to achieve this objective, there are functions. So the number one function is to create the needed awareness, educate the public on their safety. And then two, we also give technical advice on building plans. So it means that every structure that has to be put up, whether it's your own home, whether it's a government facility or a commercial, private, whatever, you will need to be able to submit your drawings to the Ghana National Fire Service. So once you send your drawings to the district assemblies for building permit, you would also have to send your drawings to the Ghana National Fire Service so that we can give you technical advice on your building. We need to be able to tell you that, find out from you what is the use of this building. If it is going to be a health facility, then we advise you such that you don't go and put the wards, the holding places where you keep the injured or the sick there on the top floor.
Okay.
You put them on the ground floor so that in case of emergency, you can evacuate them quickly. But if you go and put them on the top floors, how is it going to be easy for you to evacuate people probably who have undergone surgery, they have not even recovered, people who are sick, bedridden? How long is it going to take? And you have 3 minutes to do that. And if they are about 20. So we advise on that. Then the how do you call it? The sizes of your escape route.
Okay.
We need to be able to advise so that at any point in time, your escape route could carry 2 or more, depending on what you are going to use it for. Then your stairs, how wide it should be. There are standards in construction.
Wow.
So you know when you are climbing stairs, where you place your foot, there are calculations. It should not be less than 1 foot. Standard 12 inches. So if it is less, sometimes you go to certain premises. When you step, your entire foot is not able to occupy that space, and that is wrong. You understand? So in case of emergency and people are rushing down, people could trip, roll over, fall, and probably break their bones or whatever, get injured even before they could escape. So all these advice are given to the developer or whoever is the owner of that facility. And then the material that you are going to use to construct the building, it has to be fire rated. So if you go and get anything that is beautiful to come and construct your house, have you asked yourself, if there is fire, how quickly is that thing going to burn? Or how fire resistant is going to help you hold the fire until such a time fire service is going to come in? Even if you are going to consider burglar proofing, are you going to go in for the hardcore ones that once you put there is no way if there is a fire you can escape? There are collapsible ones that when you come, will give you advice and let you install some on your facility. Don't think about thieves alone. Think about your safety. When there is fire, how you are going to escape with your family and your loved ones. Think about that. We have paints that are even fire rated, that when you come, we advise you so that when you paint your walls and there is fire, those paints will help hold the fire and will prevent the fire from spreading quickly.
Wow.
So if you don't come with your drawings and you think that you have gotten your money, when the fire comes and you blame us, I will arrest you. for failing to be compliant and for failing to be responsible citizen. And so we give technical advice on building plans. We also give technical advice on fire extinguishers.
Okay.
Every property must have effective fire extinguisher. So don't get money and go and buy any vehicle of your choice, and you will not acquire an effective fire extinguisher and you will not care to know how to use the fire extinguisher. You build a nice house, no fire extinguisher, no smoke alarm, and you think that you are borrowed. When the fire comes, I've called them at 1 hour, they have not come.
I blame you.
Yes, if I get anyone like that, I will arrest you. I will not forgive you. Because Ghanaians are becoming recalcitrant. Most of us are not law abiding, and that is what is killing us.
Sure.
So aside the technical advice on the building plans and then the fire extinguisher, we also train on the fire extinguisher. So the law is that you can't go and import fire extinguisher. You can't just go anywhere to go and buy a fire extinguisher. It must be tagged.
Wow.
It must be fire extinguisher that has been embossed by the Ghana National Fire Service, so that you can rely on its efficacy. You know that this extinguisher that I have, when I deploy it, it will work and it will kill my fire within minutes. So there is a project that we are rolling out,
Okay.
which would ensure that every facility, every vehicle would have an embossed Ghana National Fire Service extinguisher there, so that the rampant fire that we are experiencing would also be a thing of the past. We are also into rescue and evacuation services. Okay. Rescue on water during flood situation, when somebody is trapped in a confined space, a deep well, when somebody is trapped at a height, when somebody wants to kill himself or something, he has gone to climb these telephone masts, electricity pylons, and what have you. We have saved countless number of lives. Wow. When people drown, we go and retrieve their body. When people want to do decommissioning, there's an underground tank. Maybe it was used for petrol or diesel. We have to ensure that the tank is safe, and then we ventilate to make sure that the vapors are not trapped in. Okay. If you want to go and do confined space and you don't come to fire service and you get in there, you may suffocate because there's no available oxygen. People have died severally and we have gone to retrieve their body. So please come to fire service. We are the professionals, so that we help you. I've already talked about public education. We need the utility vehicles. We need the motorbikes to be able to help us to educate. A lot of Ghanaians are ignorant. Yes. They need fire safety education. Sometimes when people cry when their property is on fire, it pains my heart, because a rich man out there could have bought a motorbike or a pickup vehicle for us, but he refused, and fire has come to gut a whole commercial facility. So I think it is high time that we help Ghana National Fire Service to also help us in trying to bridging the gap between ignorance on our safety, so that once people become informed, when they're educated, they become responsible.
Have you heard of people saying that when you want to quench fire, you use Coca-Cola? Have you heard of that?
Yes, there are a lot of extinguishing medium that can deal with fires, but we are asking, even porridge, the normal porridge that we do, even the Hausa cocoa, the Mori cocoa, and all that, they can extinguish fire. But the question is, when the fire starts, how many saucepans of Mori cocoa or Hausa cocoa can you prepare?
And if you have to get education from the Ghana National Service.
You see, can you prepare within 5 minutes? And do you think the fire will be waiting for you? How many beer bottles can you buy? Coke bottles can you buy to pour into the fire when it starts? So buy a fire extinguisher. Get to the nearest fire station, and then let us also help us. We are also into training of fire volunteers. You know, the natural vegetation, had it not been fire service in 1983, you know, the devastating bushfires that ravaged Ghana, we stood and dealt with that fire. So Ghanaians should not be insulting us, should not be casting aspersions and beating us and doing all those things against us. When the 83 fires came, ask yourself, which people stood on their feet to deal with that fire? It was the Ghana National Fire Service. We saved Ghana of our forest resources. And up to today, we have never experienced such devastating fires. And so if you don't have anything to tell us, just be grateful to the Ghana National Fire Service for saving Ghana when these wildfires were rampaging and destroying our natural vegetation. It was us that came in to salvage the situation. So please, we beg you, respect us, because we are your saviors. We have always been your saviors. We are your heroes. Recognize us and stop blaming us needlessly. If you don't understand anything, just get to our station, closest station, ask them questions. If you really want to understand that our fire engines have water in them, go there at midnight. People are there. Go and ask them, Master, I want to see it, because me, I'm a doubting Thomas. Go and open the thing. Let me see if water is there. They'll go and open for you, so that you will see, so that you can advise yourself. So the rescue and evacuation services, we do. That is why when there is structural collapse, you see fire service there. so that we would create space, rescue the trapped victims. If there's also road accidents, you see us there, because we are the only institution in Ghana with specialized equipment to cut, to create space, to do stabilization, and to rescue trapped individuals from such entrapment. If somebody's leg is trapped within metal gratings on gutters and such places, it is not a matter of oil. Okay. It is not a matter of okro. It is not a matter of ointment or something. Just call Ghana National Fire Service and we'll come and create space, cut through the metal, or open the concrete slab so that the person could be freed. And that has been our work. Humanitarian services. When the Akosombo Dam was spilled, the first institution to get to the ground to save lives, people who were being drowned by those Akosombo water, was the Ghana National Fire Service. But the media failed to report on what we did. We were the first to get there. We saved countless number of lives, and then we provided clean, potable water to the affected homes, the communities. When COVID-19 came, 2020, and there was lockdown, when the president advised or directed that we provide Ghanaians with clean, potable water, it was the Ghana National Fire Service that responded to that call. And we provided countless number of communities and households with clean, potable water. That's why I told you, our water is not chemicalized. We only mix some foam compound when we are dealing with Class B fires, flammable liquids. But not that, not until that, we use the normal water that we all drink from our taps in dealing with fires. And therefore, we are your heroes. When schools are in distress, when hospitals are in distress, where communities have water crisis, it is our responsibility to respond. Because as far as lives are concerned, we are lifesavers. The whole country, we are your number one lifesavers. So we cannot sit there and say that, let's say, Osu, there is a community that has been struck with water shortage, and we will sit here unconcerned. We will have to go there. Wow. And provide them with clean, potable water. And that does not mean that we are selling water. Please, we should understand it. It is part of our role. That is part of our humanitarian role. If you see any fire tender selling water, the best thing to do is to investigate. Okay. If there is a sales, there must be a receipt. Provide us with evidence, because in every household there are bad nuts. So that if it happens that we investigate, and it is true that people are selling water, our people are selling water, we can bring them to book. But we don't sell water. Okay. We provide potable water to people who are in distress. And that is part of our role. We investigate all the incidents that we attend, including the fire, the accidents, and what have you. It is part of our work, so that we can bring conclusion. We can know what caused the fire. Then we will use that as an educational output for our public educators. And then also we go to the communities, we sensitize them. We also do our risk assessment, and then also kind of protect national strategic installations. Valco, you go to Akosombo, you go to even stadium, when there are stadium due to where are playing football, event centers. We are lifesavers, and people coming there, they also have life. So we need to go there and make sure that the place will not carry more than what the place can support. Okay. So that we would prevent what we call heat stroke. You know the stampede that happened at May 9. Yes. There was a football match between Accra, House of Folk, and Kumasi. I mean, the stadium was overpacked. People suffered from heat. At a point in time, we had to spray water on them. You see, so that has been part of our role. When there is election duty, we support our counterparts, the police, to be able to manage the elections such that we enhance or safeguard our, how do you call it, our peace as a nation. So as a security agency, where it matters that we need to provide some form of security, we also do. So any other thing that is incidental to our objective, we rise up to the occasion. So if your house is swamped by these bees, or if you have snakes visiting your place, just call on us.
Wow.
Everything that has to do with life. Or we've gone to places where we have saved dogs, we have rescued dogs, we have rescued a lot of people from bee attacks, we have gone to save a lot of people from snake invasion and other means. So once anything has to do with life, fire service must be called, and we are always ready to respond to your call. But call us early. Make sure you protect your property, get the fire extinguishers, and then make sure you practice what we call escape drills, whether in your home or office. Make sure you practice escape drills. Be familiar with your place. Do it at night. Do it when there is light on. Do it. You can even blindfold yourself. There are people who are not even familiar with their rooms. If there's light up, they'll be hitting their legs on. No, it shouldn't be. Because when it gets worse, maybe there's fire, your electricity supply is gone, you need to crawl, and you are not familiar with your place, you will die. So these are some of the things that you need to consider. Our emergency number remains, the national emergency number remains 112. Please stop pranking us.
Okay.
Stop pranking us. 112. You can call on our national hotlines to 030-277-2446 or 0299-340-383. 0299-340-383. Please call as quickly as possible so that we can also respond to save all savable lives and safeguard properties as well as the environment.
Okay, thank you so much. Guys, so this is Divisional Officer Grade 2, Desmond Ackah, and at the head of Public Relations of Ghana National Fire Service. He is the one who has educate us, and to those of you who prank the National Fire Service, please, you have to stop. And today we have learned a lot of things over here. So those who are watching this video, educate your fellow brother. Tell those that are coming out with different misunderstanding about the fire service. I think it's high time for us to appreciate what the Ghana National Fire Service is doing for us, to stop putting out misinformation about them, so that they will be also happy. They will be happy to do their work. Thank you so much for watching. In case you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and after subscribing, turn on the post notification bell to all. When it comes to earth equipment machine, Sega One Company Limited say, hey, if you need roller, excavator, grader to work, you can call them on 0243554477, 0243554477. Sega One Company Limited say working with confidence. Thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.
Thank you.